Today on Stories You Didn't Know, we explore the Sentinelese people, a tribe still living by the customs of a pre-civilization era, and North Sentinel Island, the last uncontacted place on Earth. In ancient times, before transportation and communication developed, interacting with other cultures was a life-threatening endeavor. Ancient civilizations believed the world ended just beyond their own cultural boundaries. They thought monsters lurked in the unknown, or that travelers would fall off the edge of the world. People who ventured beyond their homelands rarely returned, so fear was used to discourage them from leaving their communities. The ancient Greeks believed the world ended at Gibraltar, at the southern tip of the Iberian Peninsula. But as a civilization and technology advanced, exchange between cultures gradually flourished. Europeans grew curious about what lay to the east, and Asians began looking westward as well. Alexander the Great, founder of the Hellenistic Empire, known as Alexander III, marched beyond Persia all the way to present-day India, driven by curiosity about the eastern continent and his ambition to leave monuments bearing his name. Even then, cultural exchange required the full backing of a nation-state. Full-scale commercial exchange between civilizations didn't truly begin until the age of exploration in the 15th century. From Europe's perspective, the Americas and Oceania were new continents. Their discovery marked the beginning of conquest and colonization. Human civilization rapidly advanced through technology and exchange. Today, humans can reach virtually anywhere on Earth. There are so-called holes of inaccessibility, like Point Nemo, but these are unvisited simply because they're not important, not because we couldn't get there. In fact, Point Nemo serves as a spacecraft cemetery where decommissioned satellites are sent to rest. By the 20th century, even the most remote tribes living primitive lifestyles had been discovered. As documentary filmmaking flourished, most isolated communities came into contact with the outside world. In the Bay of Bengal, North Sentinel Island, part of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The island is home to the Sentinelese, who have lived in isolation for at least 20,000 to 60,000 years. It's quite well known internationally, recognized as one of the most difficult and mysterious islands in the world to visit. Though it's Indian territory, even the Indian government does not manage or develop the island. Instead, the Indian Navy actively monitors the waters to prevent outsiders from approaching. So who are the Sentinelese, and why do they live this way? The Sentinelese are believed to have migrated from Africa around 60,000 years ago and settled on Sentinel Island. There are two islands, South Sentinel to the south and North Sentinel to the north. South Sentinel is too small to inhabit and is uninhabited. Everyone lives on North Sentinel Island. In the past, isolated regions and uncontacted tribes were common, so the Sentinelese were once just another ordinary uncontacted tribe. But as virtually every remote corner of the world was explored, North Sentinel Island, still untouched, began gaining worldwide fame as the last uncontacted place on Earth. It's not simply that the island is hard to reach. The Sentinelese are extremely hostile toward outsiders and will attack anyone who approaches. The exact reason they refuse all outside contact is unknown, but two theories exist. One holds that they suffered at the hands of outsiders, including neighboring tribes like the Nicobaris. The other points to an 1880 incident in which British naval officer and explorer Maurice Vidal Portman kidnapped 6 Sentinelese individuals. Both factors likely played a role. Shortly after the kidnapping, in 1896, a convict escaped on a raft and drifted to North Sentinel Island. He was later found dead, pierced repeatedly by arrows and spears, and decapitated. The island is covered by dense jungle, making it nearly impossible to assess conditions even from aerial photography. Surrounding coral reefs make it difficult for ships to approach, and anyone who tries to get close is met with spears over 2.5 meters long and arrows about 1 meter in length. Incidentally, the name Sentinelese means sentinel or guard, a name given by the British who once ruled India. What they actually call themselves remains unknown. They speak their own unique Sentinelese language, and when the British brought in members of the nearby Ong tribe to serve as interpreters during the colonial era, communication failed entirely. In terms of technology, the Sentinelese have not even reached the Iron Age, which began around 3000 BC. They remain in the Stone Age. There is no agriculture, not even the farming that emerged during the Neolithic Revolution. They live exactly as our most ancient ancestors did, gathering food through fishing, foraging, and hunting. They do not know how to make fire. They preserve flames sparked by lightning and keep them going. When there is no fire, they simply eat raw animals and fish. The Sentinelists, who preserve this primitive way of life, have long fascinated anthropologists and explorers. Naturally, there have been many historical attempts to make contact. British India made several attempts, and after independence, the Indian government sent multiple expeditions for proper investigation. In 1967, an expedition led by Indian anthropologist Triloknath Pandit, sponsored by the Indian government, attempted to approach Sentinel Island. But the Sentinelese fled into the jungle, and the team withdrew without making contact. Attempts in 1970 and 1973 also failed when the islanders fired arrows at the approaching teams. But Pandit refused to give up. Starting in 1974, for 17 consecutive years, he persistently left gifts on the shores of Sentinel Island. Eventually, the Sentinelese began to open up. The team was able to enter the island and conduct brief observations. However, the islanders still showed considerable wariness, so in-depth research remained impossible, and the study was concluded in 1997. Still, a documentary was produced following Pandit's team as they met the tribe, and it was broadcast on National Geographic. Then, in 2004, a massive magnitude 9.3 earthquake struck South Asia. Concerned about damage to the island, the Indian government sent a survey and rescue team by helicopter. But the Sentinelese fired arrows at the helicopter, and the crew turned back. In 2005, the Indian government and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands Administration officially announced that they had no intention of conducting further research, surveys, interference, or contact with the Sentinelese. New laws were enacted. Anyone, including Indian citizens, who approaches the island without government permission faces up to 3 years in prison. The Indian military continues to guard the surrounding waters. India could easily conquer North Sentinel Island. But since the Sentinelese cause no trouble as long as no one approaches, the government decided to simply leave them alone. The island has no significant resources, so there's no real reason to use force. A forced conquest would undoubtedly draw enormous international condemnation in today's world. From a cultural preservation standpoint, the Sentinelese hold irreplaceable value as a living window into primitive human life. There's also another serious obstacle. Because of their extreme isolation, the Sentinelese have no immunity to outside diseases. Simply making contact could be deadly for them, and yet attempts to reach the island continue. The rarity of Earth's last uncontacted civilization continues to captivate documentary filmmakers, anthropologists, and missionaries alike. Incidents keep happening. In 2018, American missionary John Allen Chow declared he had to bring the word of God to what he called Satan's last stronghold, a place where no one had ever heard the name of God. He illegally attempted to make contact with the Sentinelese and was killed by their arrows. The US government typically responds forcefully when its citizens are killed abroad, but in this case, the fault was clearly the missionaries, so the Sentinelese were not held accountable. The Indian government, wary of conflict with the Sentinelese, did not even attempt to retrieve the missionary's body. Rather than punishing the Sentinelese, the matter was settled by punishing the fishermen who had illegally transported him to the island. The deceased missionary was posthumously awarded the Darwin Award, given to those who die in spectacularly avoidable ways. North Sentinel Island remains full of mysteries yet to be solved anthropologically and scientifically. But unless the Sentinelese themselves choose to reach out, in the far future, they will likely remain exactly as they are today, preserved in their primitive state, unchanged and untouched. That has been the story of North Sentinel Island, the last uncontacted land on Earth.